The time has come for a fact that is going to shock and blow your mind. This will actually change everything you ever expected of James Bond. Anything you ever thought you knew. Hello and welcome to the For Your Ears Only podcast. Today we're talking about episode 004, which is Thunderball. Derek, what's your initial reaction to Thunderball?
I actually did really like Thunderball. I don't remember it much when I was younger, but watching it again, it's a good story. It's an engaging story. I do, however, think the whole film is a bit of a big flex.
A flex?
Yes.
As in...
Look what we can do.
Yeah.
Look what we can do underwater. Look what we can do with explosions. Look at us again in the Bahamas.
Okay.
I think all of that was just...
I think my angle in that is kind of similar, but it was more, we've got all this money, now we need to blow it, we need to use it.
Yes.
Because they had like a 9 million budget or something.
9 million?
9 million.
That's significantly more than...
Well, Dr. No was 1 million, so 9 times Dr. No.
Gets up. On that note, this is a good reminder to tell people if you're watching this episode and have not seen episode 001, 002 or 003, which is Dr. No, From Russia With Love and Goldfinger, then you should go and watch them because they are similar to this episode and they're also good.
They are good.
And bit of continuity. You'll see us getting older each episode.
But not wiser.
If you've not watched those previous episodes, then go have a listen to them. But yeah, I really enjoyed the film. It did feel like classic action film, but again at the time, so many underwater scenes. It wasn't the first film to do underwater scenes, but most of it was underwater. Let's do underwater. Sharks, let's add some sharks.
Yeah.
Like underwater creatures and fish and other mammals.
Octopus.
Let's put them in and
Yeah.
put them in there. So yeah, it was
a quarter, 25% of the film is underwater.
Exactly. Got that budget. And then you get helicopters.
Yes.
As well.
The Bahamas.
Yeah. You get Bahamas, nice set. And
massive yachts. You can
massive
explode.
yachts. Yes, that explode and then split in two and such. So yeah, there's the budget was there and I thought it was a very entertaining film. Mm-hmm. Up until a point.
Okay.
And that'll be... You'll have to keep listening to hear.
Alright, okay, we'll get to that.
Crucial blow of the film. Overall, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so we have a recurring segment where one of us will have to give a synopsis of the film in 2 minutes. This week, it is Derek's.
Okay.
You have to describe Thunderball in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
Right, are you timing?
Yeah, let's get out the little timer.
Okay. I am...
And you don't get to see
I'm actually
it.
slightly panicking now because I'm trying to remember the first third of the film.
Oh, for me, it's the other way around. Trying to remember the last
you like
third.
to explain the first 15 minutes in the first minute of the time you have.
Right, so the score is 2-1 to Derek, if you want to make it a competition. Because I failed last week. Or last episode, sorry.
2-1?
Yes.
Would there not be one each then? If you failed to get a point. Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
I'm not keeping score.
Rishi Sunak says do math. And that's an actual yes. You should. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so the film opens with the funeral of someone with initials JB. James Bond is also there, and it turns out that JB is a French name, I can't remember, but he's meant to be dead. He's a Spectre agent that James Bond wanted to see that he was killed, but was quite suspicious. He then tracks to the house, finds out that this Spectre agent had actually faked his own death. James Bond kills him, gets away in a jetpack, blah, 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 open title sequence. The film follows the adventures of Emilio Largo, who's a number 2 for Spectre. His whole job is to steal these 2 atomic bombs from NATO.
Yep.
Through a strange heist using someone else's face. and then disguising the bombs underneath the sea, hiding them under the sea, using his yacht in the Bahamas. Their plan is to extort the British government for £100 million, or I think it was a certain amount of euros. If they did not give the money over to Spectre, then Spectre would launch the bombs or ignite the bombs in America or the UK. James Bond recognises one of the characters at the start of the film as being dead, so then he follows a trail to the Bahamas, goes to the Bahamas, find this mysterious character, Emilio Largo. James Bond stuff happens where people fighting, people are captured. How long is left?
You have 30 seconds.
Okay. Using using James Bond stuff, he manages to uncover the bombs. It gets them, finds out that Emilio Largo is the man who's behind the bombs. They get them, remove the fuse, and save the bombs are discovered, and that's pretty much it. Like, nothing else happens after that, and they get away. Is that
Okay,
yeah?
We'll go with that.
Right, okay.
Like 5 seconds left.
I thought this time I'm not going to weigh myself down with names.
You're just going to say James Bond stuff happens and think you can get away with that?
He does spying, he does fights. Yeah, I don't really know what else I missed out. I mean, yeah.
You missed out several characters.
I told you I wasn't going to do the characters because the characters weigh me down. I'll get on to the characters.
You just said James Bond stuff happens.
He goes to the Bahamas, he does investigating,
Uh-huh.
he does spying.
What about the sharks?
What about the sharks are there in
You
the
never
water.
said the sharks.
The sharks aren't integral to the plot. He goes to the Bahamas to trace this person who he seen was dead.
Yep.
He recognises him from the picture. He goes there, his sister is with Emilio Largo.
Yes.
But ultimately he does a lot of spying, sneaking about. Yeah, spy stuff. And then he finds out that they do have the bombs.
Yes.
The hunch was correct. Mm-hmm. And he chases after the bombs. I did actually forget that the government's got involved and started attacking this boat.
the
But
NATO
the firing
troops.
pins were thrown overboard. They couldn't be used anymore. So this was James Bond just trying to... Now that makes me think, why was he going... If the firing pins were thrown overboard? I don't know. Yeah, I think the synopsis was there. I just left out the names because I'm not good with names in real life. I'm definitely not good with names in fiction.
Do you think maybe the plot's just not that good? And that's why
I think the
there's
plot...
nothing you could say?
I think the plot is good. There wasn't many twists.
It was straightforward.
It was essentially, something's underwater, but we don't know what's there. We don't know if it is the bombs. I think I wrote down that this film was very like Goldfinger in the way that it's like a heist. Goldfinger had a heist planned for Fort Knox.
Yep.
But we've spoke about that. That's the previous episode. But then it's extortion, which is kind of the same thing, where he's going to go in, but then he makes a threat of letting off an atomic bomb.
Yes. In some
It's kind of the same film, now that I think about it.
Yep.
2 atomic bombs. The threat is there. You know, if you give us the money, we'll tell you where the bombs are and you can have them back.
Yep.
If you don't tell us where that, we'll let them off in America or the UK. It's as simple as that. You need to come and find them or give us the money.
Yeah, and it's very convenient that he happens to be in the Bahamas, the right place, and he's always at the right time, always.
Well, he's in the Bahamas because he was at a spa and a dead man was at the spa that he recognised.
Yes.
And then was shown a picture. I also like the fact that before he went to the Bahamas, Em went, right, you're going to Canada.
Yeah.
And he said, actually, no, I think I want to go to the Bahamas. And he went, okay. And I was like,
He just
fucking what? Do you want to go to Canada? No, it's too cold there. I'd rather go to the Bahamas.
Yeah, he did too easily. He was too easily persuaded there.
Yes.
To say, okay.
And he
whatever
said,
you
I
say.
know this guy and I know this guy. How? Shows that you might have just thought, you know what, a nuke's going to go off. I'm not going to go to a cold country. If this is my last time employed with this government, I'm going to go to the Bahamas.
And just lie on the beach.
Yeah, which he did a number of different times.
Which he did.
But yeah, I think the films were quite similar. I actually liked the start where they're in the spa and him and his character's name?
Lipe?
Count Lipe are just like It's meant to be threatening, but they're ultimately just playing pranks on each other. It's not like that machine that's like, ah!
Oh, the sort of rack thing. Yeah. I've never heard of that or seen that since.
I think it was probably
Is it real?
discontinued. No, I don't think so.
Is it? What was it to do? Stretch his spine, relax his muscles.
I think it was, stretch the spine. They said people call it the rack.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't know what. I think it
health
must
benefit
stretch the
is.
spine and do something with nerves. I don't think it's very healthy. I don't think it's required there. Plus, I don't know what it's doing. When Sean Connery obviously passes out, clearly wasn't that threatening. And then when Count Leapy's in there and he just turns the heating up and locks him in.
Do those things still exist?
Oh, they're kind
They're
of
little like
saunas, I
sauna
think.
boxes,
Probably.
like a personal sauna.
They sound expensive.
Yeah.
One person can use it at a time, and a normal sauna has like 6 or 7, so they're probably somewhere, but maybe not after that. But yeah, it's literally pranking each other.
Yeah.
Just like, you've been pranked.
Yeah, not doing anything fatal, just actually.
No.
do
Yeah,
each other
it's
around.
just that's it. It's just
When I was a kid, I was very, very confused at the plot of this film because at first, I thought all the people are similar looking, and I don't quite get. Everybody's got
eye patches.
Italian names. Who's who? I can't quite keep up. Like my 10-year-old boy was like, "Isn't she her? Oh wait, no, she's somebody else."
I struggled as well just
And then
watching it again.
throwing that in there, there's also a guy who's playing another guy who has the same face. So there is technically two people.
Yes.
So that's confused. It just confused me too much.
I've not even written names down. I've written the names down in a note somewhere, and I was like, I forgot who this person is. Because then at the start, when there's the Spectre meeting, they throw around a lot of names and numbers.
Yes.
And then Count Leapy dies because he hires
The guy.
the guy who's playing the pilot,
Uh-huh.
who's now actually dead.
He asked for too much money, and Count Leapy should have foreseen that
Yeah,
or something.
yeah,
So he gets
something
killed
like that,
for
and then
it.
he gets blown up. So yeah, I don't. There was a lot of names.
A lot of similar looking people that made me go, I don't
Apart
know
from the eye
where I am.
patch. The eye patch, like Emilio Largo reminded me of Dracula. I don't know why.
Dracula.
Yeah.
Whose interpretation of Dracula is that? Nick
I don't know.
Cage?
Just the way like carries himself around and is. I don't know. I think it was. Do you know? It's actually maybe not Dracula. It's maybe who played Dracula in the original film.
Well, like the black and white one.
Yeah.
The Nosferatu one?
No. Is that the one?
Christopher Lee?
No. Before that.
Before that?
I think he was in one of the Naked Guns. He reminded me of him. Just the way he talked, the way he spoke to Bond and
Bela Lugosi?
Bela Lugosi. That's it. Yeah. Just the way he was like, it was kind of like that. And then the card game. What are they playing?
Chemin de Fer.
Is that the card game?
Uh-huh.
The cards that don't have any numbers. I just assumed they were throwing cards down, and then it was whoever could say the bigger number. It's like 6, 7. Oh, well done. Your lung must be changing, Mr. Bond.
That's the game he plays in all the films.
I know, but I've never questioned it before, other than there. And he's like, "Oh, there's a spectre on you," and he keeps. I'm like, "Come on, mate. Like, what you try to do?"
Obvious.
Here?
He already knows who you are.
Man with the eye patch, like, clearly an evil man.
Yeah.
Before we got into the bits of that, did you have anything about the history at the time? Any influences?
Well, in 1965, what was going on there? Well, I guess you could call it. Last week we spoke about Beatlemania. Mm-hmm. So, in my research, 1965
that was the year.
Was Bond Mania, because in 1964, Goldfinger came out in the US, massive success. Obviously, still big revered film. So that led to so many TV spoofs and merchandise, board games, loads of appearances, magazines,
Money.
all that kind of stuff.
That's where that 9 million came from.
Flooded the market. So 1964, 1965, it just everybody wanted to be James Bond. Man from U.N.C.L.E. came out, all that, all that kind of stuff. These spoofs and sort of knockoffs. So yeah, everybody was all about James Bond. But in real life, what happened?
I mean, the posters weren't that fan of James Bond. I mean, if you can see on the television here, it says directed by Terence Young, and that's spelt incorrectly.
Yep, 2
So
hours and
whoever the
Terence.
graphic artist that made that poster, probably dead now.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, that was
But no, nothing happened. I think the US went to Vietnam that year. When I say went to,
was that the year they invaded Vietnam? Because I was looking at the history
think
of
so.
1963, 64, just seeing the build up to this film,
right?
what was happening there, and
I think it was.
I think that was the start of it.
Yeah,
Some bombing
there were some
campaigns.
riots in America, but anything related to this film, I don't really know.
Something I quite liked, and they put in the film, which will be one of the questions I believe afterwards, is the Great Train Robbery, 1963. So,
The
the
Spectre,
1963,
yeah,
So Spectre, again, it's one of these moments like they did in Doctor No, where
with the painting.
they input a real world event into the fictional
Yeah.
film. So they say Spectre was actually not behind it, but they consulted on the Great Train Robbery. So again, it is again a heist kind of thing of them stealing something valuable. They're bad men. That's
Spectre bad. Spectre
Yeah.
bad.
And the other thing I noted was, I know obviously the books kind of follow this as well, but I think the films beforehand, like Doctor No, what was the threat? Or when you bring down the space program, no one cares. Russia with Love, steal Elector, who? Right, okay, it's the bad in the Russians, no one cares. Goldfinger, oh no, all the gold's gone, no one cares. This film, 2 atomic bombs are gone, and everyone's like, whoa, I know what that means.
Yes.
That is a real threat that,
Yeah.
bad people should
Annihilation.
not have them. So I thought, obviously that's quite an influence of it. People stealing a bomb. That's a lot of modern films are like that now. They steal small nuclear weapons and might unleash viruses let throughout the world and such.
Yeah, in cities.
I think that's where the threat is very real for the audience. They know what the impact of that is.
Yep.
And can, I don't know, empathise with
Yeah,
the protagonist, try to fix it. Because obviously there's a point where James Bond says to the character whose name I keep forgetting,
Domino.
says on the beach,
Yep.
if you don't tell me where this is,
Hundreds of
hundreds
people.
of thousands or millions
Yeah.
of people are going to die. So that was like a real threat. The other films didn't have that threat.
No.
Maybe third party, but they didn't have an actual threat of these
Yeah.
bombs are going to go off. So I started looking into the history of the nuclear bombs, and everyone knows what they were like. Obviously, Nagasaki and
Hiroshima.
And something I found about this, and this is time for Derek's random fact that no one asked for.
Yay.
So I'm very sick. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
So an interesting fact about the bombs is, so obviously devastating weapons that were so secret that the vice president, I think it was Harry Truman, at the time of their development didn't even know they were being developed. He
Right.
only knew about this when he eventually became president.
Oh, okay.
So this was so secret that only a few people knew about it. There's a film coming out later on this year,
Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I do
about
want
the
to see
development of that, which looks very good.
It does.
Christopher Nolan, you should direct a Bond film.
He should.
So prior to the bombs going off, the Americans and the British and the Allies at this point, because Germany had surrendered, the war in Europe was over, were planning to try and end the Japanese front and didn't know how to do so.
Yep.
Now, Japan did not want to surrender at all.
Yep.
And in 1945, they had a program called The Glorious Death of 100 Million. And this was
For the
training
Japanese.
every person to die for Japan.
Okay.
Soldiers, women, children. If there was an invasion, every single person was prepared to die for the emperor.
Okay. Nice.
That was the propaganda at the time. Now, America had made an operation called Operation Downfall, where they were going to do an actual invasion of Japan on 2 different fronts, which would be absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was
many deaths.
obviously tens of millions actually died in Normandy. I don't know the exact figure, but one of the most gruesome invasions that ever took place. America estimated that this would prolong the war for 2 years. It would take 2 years to actually defeat Japan and ultimately wipe the country off the face of the earth, because they didn't think Japan were going to surrender. And they estimated that the casualties for America would be between 1.7 and 4 million.
Okay, wow.
Casualties. So in America, they have the Purple Heart. Purple Heart is awarded to those who are injured in war or killed in war and given to the family.
Okay.
Because the figures were so gruesome and so dire of this, America, in preparation, made 500,000 Purple Hearts. Not even enough to cover that. They made so many medals in preparation for Operation Downfall because they expected millions of soldiers to be injured or killed in this. But then, atomic bomb was developed, ready to go. Part of the plan was actually to develop 15 of them.
All right, okay.
At the time, they didn't know the radiation effects, so part of the plan was to bomb a city and then 24 hours later to put the army in the city and hold it. Didn't know about radiation.
Right, okay.
So that was taken off the table. But they used 2 of them, and at that point, Japan surrendered.
Yep.
But they had all of this mass amount of medals left. So to this day, that stockpile of medals, even though a lot of them have had to go back and be refurbished, or changed over in terms of ribbons, are still given out.
Oh, really?
Of that original 500,000. Because I think there was over 1 million, maybe 1.5 million that they made over the entire war. But for this one invasion, before it even happened, they thought this is going to be shit. Like, this is going to be like bad chat.
Yeah.
We need to make all these medals just in preparation for the first wave. Like, this is actually going to be so dire.
So if you get a Purple Heart now, you're most likely going to get like a 1945.
Yes, they've not even run out. A flip side of a situation that could have went not even horribly wrong, horribly just right, but through these 2 literally devastating devices.
Yeah.
We have that, and then we have this other kind of wee reminder of history as to what could have happened.
What could have happened?
That's what I found. Just nothing to do with James Bond, but it's still terrifying over what atomic bombs are. So again, the audience knows what an atomic bomb is, knows what the devastation is. Bad guys shouldn't have them.
Bad guys shouldn't have nukes.
Yeah.
That is the slogan.
Question? I'll do the first question.
Right. Yes. What's the first question? You hinted at a question earlier.
Yes. So, as I mentioned at the start, JB was the initial of the dead person, or supposedly dead person.
Yep.
Jacques Bouvard was a member of Spectre before he died, but what was his Spectre number? Question 1.
Ooh.
So that's question 1.
I don't know if I remember that.
You don't remember it?
No.
Leave.
I remember the other Spectre agents.
Yeah. So what else do we have? Actually, I've spoke about the heist, extortion, and such. The card game. Something that I'd never noticed in any other film. I don't know if you noticed this.
Okay.
This was the first film I noticed Sean Connery's tattoo being covered up.
His tattoo?
Sean Connery has a tattoo on his forearm right here.
Right.
And this was the first film I noticed it being cut. I'm sure they will have removed it.
I was just looking to see if
he does have. I don't know what it is, but he does have a tattoo here, and there's a scene in the hotel where he goes in. I never thought of it before, but then I was like, "What's that?" And it's like very, very grey makeup. So they must mask it a lot of the time, but just in this one light, I noticed it.
You could see it.
I remember it like with Tom Hardy had loads of tattoos.
Yeah.
And they put makeup on it, and you can see the makeup kind of coming off.
Oh, can you?
But this is the first film, not even in the water, but just in the hotel, and I thought,
just been a long day.
What's that? You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Another fun fact.
That's
I'm
good.
done with the facts now. No more facts on Derek.
You ran out of the facts.
Yeah. What did you like about the film? What's
what did I like about the film? I liked the opening scene. Yes. The opening scene was great with the funeral. Will we talk about it? That's not a question.
No.
I
I'm
don't know.
laughing. I'm laughing at when I'm watching these with Rachel, and it's like the widow comes up, and Sean Connery goes, oh, my condolences.
And punches him.
I'm like, oh, Sean.
Oh no. So Sean Connery granted one interview this year whilst making the film, and that was to Playboy, where he makes those remarks. And then later that year, his first scene is him cracking a widow, but the widow turns out to be a male Spectre agent.
He's the assassin.
Yes.
I thought it was quite clever. Try to fake your own death and get away from it, and then you kind of get away from
It
him.
was very 60s for him to go, that woman's opening her own door. That's not a woman.
I forgot about that. I've seen through your disguise.
But the fight scene is great.
Yeah.
When I watched it, I was like, oh, I forgot how good this actually is.
There is one bit of the fight scene where I was like, what? And it was like when he grabs the chair and then he slides it.
Slides
He
it.
slides it like a hockey puck across, and then the guy trips over it. I'm like, okay.
It was-
this
yeah, a little bit.
wee bit of stage performance there. But no, it is quite good. And obviously they throw the props and things around, and he grabs the curtain off. And
Yeah, well, the poker iron kind of that kills him is
Yeah.
pretty dark and graphic. I was kind of say,
not even when he grabs the flowers and goes,
yeah, he throws the flowers over him. But yeah, I thought that was a kind of brutal killing,
then
actually.
it goes into the jetpack.
But
Which,
then the jetpack appears.
the jetpack's like, that's cool. But,
Very cool.
I mean, a rope would do.
Also, where did the jetpack come from?
Where did-
Just on the roof.
Did he fly a jetpack onto the roof? He must have. Because he
But then
wouldn't have
someone would
walked,
have-
couldn't walk through the house with a jetpack.
You're right. He probably did, but it was a very loud jetpack.
Yeah. And then obviously get in the car and use, not the oil slick, but there's a, like, fire, like
It's like a hose,
spray,
yeah, like a riot hose comes out of it.
we need water so we can transition seamlessly into the water
Into the
titles of this
water.
film.
I liked the jetpack. It's very 60s fantastical, over the top, classic James Bond
Yeah.
thing. But do you know what it reminded me of? Now, as you know, I've only got two things I have a reference, and
Simpsons.
this is another Simpsons reference. It reminds me of. Do you remember that episode where Troy McClure could get the role of the sidekick for, is it McBain or Radioactive Man, the sidekick, but it's sham managed, blah blah blah, and then he says at the end that he's going to just write and direct and star in his own film, which is called
You wrote this down.
the Contrabulous Fantraction of Professor Horatio Huffenagel, and the picture that pops up is him in a sort of homemade jetpack flying about with a propeller on it, and it just reminds me of that exact shot of Sean Connery.
Should be banned from bringing up The Simpsons anymore.
Bring that up on the screen, this shot that I'm talking about, and people will laugh. But yeah, that was a great opening scene.
It's kind of like, as well, like, 60s, like, this is the world of tomorrow. This is the technology. Like, we've given
Yes.
you televisions in the last 20 years. We've given you microwaves. Or not microwaves in the 60s. Like, look at all these, like, everyone will have a jetpack in 10 years' time.
And you saying you don't have a jetpack? Loser. But the main titles were good. I know that they brought the guy back who did Doctor No's titles with all the dots.
All right.
This guy came back to do
We just gave him a bigger budget.
bigger budget. Here's the underwater shots. And what they were black and white film of naked swimmers
Right.
that he then digitally added colour onto it. This is why they all change colour and stuff.
That's quite good.
So it's somewhere there's negatives of just naked
Somewhere.
somewhere.
Somewhere in Hollywood.
Another
That's the,
seedy element of Hollywood.
Because again, with the thing, we've got Tom Jones. As to why Tom Jones was...
Last minute choice.
Was he a last minute choice?
Yes. They had a song, which is actually a very good song, which you can find on Spotify, called Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang,
Yes.
which the song's actually very good.
Shirley Bassey.
And they got Shirley Bassey to sing it. Then they got Dionne Warwick to sing it, and she was going to put it in the film, but then the producers decided that they wanted a song that had the title in it, so they had to like rush a new song with Tom Jones.
Was it called Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang because of the Kiss Kiss Club? Or was that after?
I think that was after. I've read two sources. One of them says that it was just the Japanese translation. They just called him Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in the same way as the Italians call James May Mr. Slowly instead of Captain Slow. Do you know what I mean?
Slowly, yeah.
Either it was Japan or it was Italian. They called him Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. That was his nickname.
All right.
So they wrote a song about
They
it.
couldn't just call him James Bond.
No.
No.
It had to be fantastical. But yeah, the song is good.
The song is good. And Big Tom passed out.
Passed out in the booth. And again, just...
Jones is a wee bit like Amelia Largo. I don't know why. Just reminds me in the same way. I don't think Amelia Largo can sing.
No.
I'm comparing Amelia Largo to a lot of people.
Yes.
It never stops.
Yes. Who else do you know has an eye patch that's not inspired by Emilio Largo?
Was that American politician? But I can't remember his name. Crenshaw. I don't know.
Exactly.
Eye patch seems to be synonymous with like evil. I mean, like
Yes.
the bad evil Nazi Bergen Valiant had an eye patch. It's a good film. That is a good film. Don't tell me you've not seen it.
I don't know what that is. What are you
It's an
saying?
animated film with birds in World War Two.
Birds.
Yeah, like messenger or carrier pigeons.
Yeah.
Like Ewan McGregor's in it.
Okay.
I think I've spoken enough about this.
I don't know.
I don't know where I'm going with this point. The bad bird has an eye patch.
Right, okay. And do you think that's inspired by this? Just like
Yeah.
Austin Powers guy
Austin
was
Powers.
obviously inspired by
Number
this.
2 has an eye patch. And number 2 is Emilio Largo. He's also number 2.
Do you want a fact, a difference between the books and the film? In the film, they all have their numbers, but in the books, the numbers rotate every so often, so that you're not always number 1 and you're not always number 2. Just in case you get caught, it rotates, or whatever. If something gets intercepted, you can't pinpoint who's who.
Surely number 1's always number 1 though.
No, I think actually in the book, Blofeld is number 2, because that's where it mentions it get changed, and he becomes number 2 for this.
There's number 1, the cat.
The cat is always
makes the
number
decision.
1. Again, like The Simpsons.
It must be the cat. Something that I actually really did quite like about this film, and it goes back to the underwater thing. Like the underwater thing is good, and it is a flex. It's like, look how much we can shoot. Like it took me till after watching the film to understand what an actual pain in the arse it must be to film underwater. Because
Yeah.
I know some of it must be in a studio, or maybe all of it must be in a studio. Some of it will be. In fact, I think
No,
most
it's
of
on
it's
location, right? They must have been in
I don't
the
know,
Bahamas
but
with all the sharks and the
see if you
Aquarius
have a stage direction, combat stage direction to fight someone,
Mm-hmm.
something goes wrong. You say right, reset, okay,
Yeah.
background and action. However, if you're underwater, you can't do that. So if something goes wrong, you just have to keep going out and then come up to the top and just go, you messed up, we need to do it again. Back again, and over again. And then you have these
More
fight
oxygen.
sequences with loads of people, like fighting
Like
each
the climax
other.
one.
They have to do it safely, but still make it look realistic. They
Mm-hmm.
can't have any direction. They can only hear themselves. This isn't a time where you could get earpieces in either.
right.
So it must have been an absolute pain in the arse. I really liked the sound design. It's a weird thing. But seeing the fight sequences, there's a lot of things happening. So there was bits where people were getting kicked, like in the head, and there was like deep thump. There was bits where like a guy had something like pushed through the goggles. And, like, you heard the smash and the crack.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You would never hear that. Cameras wouldn't pick that up. But then the bubble noise of people panicking and such like that, of gas noises, harpoons like going through, like all that was like really good. Like just a small thing, but I was like, you feel like you're there, because you would never hear that. They wouldn't make those sounds.
Yeah.
In the same way that suppressors don't go pew pew pew. Like it doesn't happen.
It's not.
But
Yeah.
they've added it to give that effect. Like I thought throughout the film that was actually probably one of my favourite bits.
The sound design.
Yes.
Nerd.
Yes. Yeah, I think that was class. If
I
anything.
think honestly there was too much underwater scenes, because maybe because it was 60s and it's all dark cameras and it's all old, but it just felt slow and
because it's a flex.
and too much underwater.
I assumed at first when they were talking about extortion, they were like, right, we need 100 million, and we need to find these bombs. Like, this is Operation Thunderball, and it's like, we'll buy 1 million lottery tickets to cover the winnings of 100 million.
Yeah. But what the Thunderball is 500,000. That's the lottery over here in the UK. Did you know that?
Is it?
500,000, I think, is the winner of the Thunderball.
I thought it was more.
Why is it called the Thunderball, the film? Why is the film called Thunderball?
I don't know, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
I thought you would have learnt this in your
I
nuclear
don't do
chat.
anything. No.
It's another word for the mushroom cloud. It's the Thunderball.
Oh, is that it? Why is the lottery called that?
I don't know.
This is the nuclear fund.
Yes. So you can buy your own bomb.
Questions have to be asked.
What did you think of the girl, Domino? Sexy.
Yeah, but I don't really know what she added to it.
Would you like to know?
I think to go back to the bit before we were talking about the characters, like there was a lot of characters added.
There was
in.
too many. What do you call them? Secondary characters.
Yeah,
too many.
I think it was more in terms of my interest would actually be more towards Fiona Volpe than
the redhead one, the villain.
That's the bad person. Shouldn't be doing that. This isn't GoldenEye.
Oh well, I actually wrote that down. I think that this Fiona Volpe is like a 60s precursor to Xena on a Top, a sort of masochist.
Or 20 episodes of it, or maybe 20. I don't know.
This sort of masochist evil villain who takes pleasure in.
She was the assassination squad or something.
Yeah,
she
has that motorbike with the rockets on it.
Yeah. That then goes in the lake.
Immediately in the lake.
Spectre's Q branch, please return this to us, please. What were you going to say about Domino?
Would you like to hazard a guess as to why she was cast, knowing what you know from the previous 3 episodes?
Was there pictures of her on the beach and someone went, okay?
No.
No?
Try again.
Oh, no, don't tell me she was a Miss Universe. No! Or was she in The Simpsons?
She was Miss France 1958.
She French?
Yes.
Was she dubbed?
Yes.
Was she actually dubbed?
We're continuing the trend of everybody being dubbed.
I
think she was dubbed. I know that Largo was dubbed.
Was Largo dubbed?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm quite sad at that. I thought it was him.
Even though he can speak English, because he's Sicilian, he had a heavy accent, so they had to dub him.
No. I suppose I actually quite liked the voice, was quite scary, but
yeah,
maybe he just wasn't threatening. James Bond.
Oh,
that was
no.
my best Sicilian.
I don't even know what that was.
Just stage directing. Can you please stop doing this with your hands?
Yes, act with not your hands.
Okay, well,
yes.
Okay, so
did you know that Raquel Welch was considered? You know Raquel Welch?
No.
From 10,000 BC.
Oh, okay.
With the bikini thing made of
it's
fur.
Definitely historically accurate.
Yes. And one fact, it's not a big fact, but I thought it was quite a good little subtle thing. Her name's Domino, and she only ever wears black and white, like a domino.
Did you pick this up yourself, or did you find it online?
Well, it's obvious she only wears black and white.
I don't know. You're ruining
watch
this
it.
film for me, Jack.
I'm ruining it.
All these fake actors and their fake voices.
Yes, well, everybody's always fake.
I mean, there's what did I like about it? There was a few. In fact, no, I'm actually going to talk about the bit that ruined it for me.
Before we get on to that, let's leave them waiting. Do you want to give them question 2?
Okay. Question 2. What do we have here? This is, if I'm going to give us one, this one's actually not too bad. What was the consultation fee for the British train robbery? So how much did Spectre charge to consult on the British train robbery? I think that's a medium one. The last question is quite hard.
Yeah, we got it.
But yeah, like in terms of things I really liked about the film, there's the gadgets, which again we'll get on to. I suppose a gadget part could be the Jetson cocoon for the Disco Volante, like how it's split into two.
Yeah.
And it's just being like, that was quite cool. I don't know if yachts do that. Like, is that a normal thing?
Can they
Like,
really do that?
that was quite good. I liked the fact that one of the crew members had a My Disco Volante t-shirt. I don't know why, but he just had a t-shirt that said My Disco Volante,
Oh, really?
which I'm assuming has been sold everywhere online now. Like,
You could
it's just a
probably
nice
on the
thing.
James Bond store.
Yes, for £1 million.
Disco Volante means...
I believe it means flying saucer.
Yes.
I only know that from Top Gear.
Was that in Top Gear?
There's a car called the Disco Volante, and they said it was flying saucer. I could be wrong. I don't know. I make stuff up a lot of the time.
Yeah, I know.
The thing that I think let the film down, shockingly, was the end sequence on the boat.
Are
I
you talking
will
about
Go as
this?
far to say this end sequence is actual pish.
Yes.
It's for all the strength the film has in its filmmaking, underwater sound design, even choreography, like actual underwater fight sequences
Yep.
and everything like that, phenomenal.
Action, location,
This
everything.
bit is just, I feel harsh with my words, but I'm not going to admit, like, he even says, oh, what's the boat? Oh, it goes 15 knots. Oh, 20 knots. This boat at the end, never mind knots, this boat at
miles.
the end is doing like 90 mile an hour. Like, why? It doesn't need to go fast. We
Yeah.
don't, like, the bomb is in the boat.
Yep.
The firing pins are gone.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
As far as I can remember, there was 2 bombs.
Yes.
One of them was in the boat.
Yes.
The other one, I don't remember what it is. I don't know if it's still in that cave.
Can't remember.
I don't remember where it went. However, there is telling Nora he's not getting to Miami. Let's just put that down. He's not getting to Miami with the boat. You've killed everybody else. Everyone else
Yep.
is floating in the water. There's a battleship hunting it down.
Yep, you're not getting there.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Why is the boat going, not even going so fast, why are you making the boat look as though it's going that fast?
Yeah, with the sped up footage.
Yeah, and it's just the green screen of it going in this circle around this like cove, and it's like, oh, it's hitting the rocks. Oh, it's missed the rocks. Oh, it's missed the rocks. Again.
Left,
It's like,
right.
why? Like, what? There's a I don't know. There's an erratic enough fight sequence going on inside the boat.
Yep.
The world around it is even for a car. If that was against in a car, you'd be like, whoa, what's happening here? That's
Yep.
something's not right. It just looked janky as hell. And,
Yeah, that's the word.
and even my dad said in the cinema when he seen it, he was like, he always that's the one thing he remembers about this film. He was like, what is this? Like, the film is good for a villain. It's got the eye patch. It's got the sharks.
Yeah.
The first time that animals have been used in a villain's lair kind of thing. Okay, release the sharks out and the sharks gonna, like, that's all great.
Yeah.
But this end sequence is just daft. It makes
Yeah, it's pretty poor,
yeah.
I would have to say.
It didn't ruin the film for me, but it didn't need to do that.
You getting a switch off when you see it, I guess.
I switch off and I kind of even watched it.
Or you
again,
get
I was
taken
kinda
out of
like-
it.
I was like,
Even on...
and then it's like the boat's, let's call the boat is going 20 knots as they've said it, and I'm just meant to believe that it's going 20 knots. And it's like, oh no, it's going to hit the rocks. Those same rocks that have
appear
passed.
again, again,
The same
and again.
thing. It's going to hit the rocks. They jump off, and then it hits the rocks, and then Hollywood steps and it goes boom, and
Makes a big
and blows it up,
explosion.
and it's like, right, okay. One, I don't think that would happen. Two, why is it? What is the speed of this boat again?
See if there's supposed to be a nuke on that boat. So if it crashes and explodes, does the nuke not explode?
No, it's.
Or does it just...
I don't know where to begin. I think the whole premise of a nuke is its fission, so it needs to be triggered in a very specific way.
Yes, so it's like...
It's kind of like a grenade. A grenade has explosives to it, but it doesn't. It has to explode from
a
the
certain
inside
way.
out to then fragment and such. If you explode a grenade, it'll maybe burst it and it might cause a small thing, but I don't think. I think if it ruptured, then potentially there would be issues.
Yeah.
But
But it does crash at 1,000,000 miles an hour into a rock. And
a
then
million miles an hour,
and then
20 knots, Jack, 20 knots.
But yeah, I know what you mean, that this sort of footage in the background of it speeding up and just keeps going round the same
It was just
thing again.
unnecessary.
And there's like Sean Connery going, what?
Yeah, what was that all about? Why was Nothing moving around.
And just trying to pull the wheel
I mean,
and then
okay,
going the wrong way.
Now that I think about it, 20 knots, you've actually halved the boat in two. You've got rid of half the weight. Okay, maybe the boat goes a bit faster.
I don't know what knots compared to miles an hour is.
But even at that, like, no way.
Yeah, the guy who saves the day really is the nuclear guy, isn't it? He disarms everything.
They leave him.
And he just gets chucked off.
They go, oh, I can't swim all the time, and they chuck him off with the thing, and then the inflatable thing arrives, and then there's like the sky hook thing to take them away,
and
then
they
they go
leave
away.
this
And
guy.
I've written down, I was like, what happened to that guy?
They just
They
left
leave
him
there?
in the Bahamas Ocean to
With
get
the sharks.
to get eaten by sharks or drowned. The guy who actually saved the day.
He's the real hero here.
He is a real hero.
Yeah, I think the other things that went with the film, which was really good, was there was nice lines, and it was the she's just dead.
Oh, the one-liners.
She's just dead, or the he's got the point.
All-time James Bond moment. He's got the point. Think he's got the point. Something like that.
Yeah,
She's just dead. Another cold-hearted, cruel. I like that one as well.
he kind of laughs.
He does.
He's also shot in the calf. Now that I remember it.
And then
he deal with that?
that's right. He doesn't. You see him like blood coming out of it,
In a bathroom, he wraps it up before going to the dancing,
and then
after that, he's fine.
yeah, completely fine. Absolutely nothing wrong with him.
We touched on before about the gadgets, like the Geiger counter, underwater camera, mini flare gun, the mini breather, and the homing pill. Used every single one of them.
Yes. The I know that the US Army contacted them to say, is your underwater breathing device real and what's the patent for it? Because they wanted it.
And
obviously the producers were like, no, it's not real.
the prop department went, this is a bit of wood. But we'll sell it to you.
We'll sell it.
Oh, that's quite funny, actually. Why would the army get in touch and go, oh, no, we need that? Why would the army need that?
I don't know. It's Americans.
That's quite funny. Yeah, we touched on them in terms of like the lines, and the got your point is actually one of my Bond moments.
Yes.
So there is the harpoon kill, because again it's the way he just goes, how many like Ray-Bans and
Yeah, nonchalant.
yeah, he's got the point. The jetpack
Yeah.
is a moment with that, and a bit I really liked, and I found it hilarious, because it's like, it's quite funny. Like James Bond knows kind of knows who Amelia Largo is. Amelia Largo knows exactly who James Bond is, because for being the world's greatest spy, everybody knows who he is now.
Yeah.
Special Inspector. The clay pigeon scene.
Oh,
And he's going,
okay.
oh no, do you know much about guns? Oh no, I know more about women. And then he's holding, and then the bit goes, oh, this might be quite hard. And then just goes, just shoots for the hit and goes, oh, it's quite easy actually. And it's like, wait, you have a cover?
Flex.
Yeah, it's like your cover story's just gone.
Yeah.
I quite like that.
That was quite
'cause
good,
it was
actually.
Quite funny. Again, it's much the same as Goldfinger, where they both know who
Yeah.
each other are. He's like, oh, we need to kill James Bond. Actually, no, don't kill him just yet, because if we kill him, the government will know there's something here.
Yeah, the bombs are
They'll
here.
know that's what it is. So let's just keep. It's kind of
Keep him alive.
the same premise.
Yeah,
Is
the
it
same
book?
idea.
Same novel. Ian, is this the same story?
Right, okay.
Oh no.
The time has come for a fact that is going to shock and blow your mind. This will actually change everything you ever expected of James Bond. Anything you ever thought you knew.
This has been like hyped up.
Everything,
Oh, right.
everything you ever thought you knew about James Bond's Thunderball, you do not know.
James Bond's Thunderball.
Yes.
Okay, right. So actually, I think
So,
no, I don't know this. Actually, there's something about the book I remember.
yes, something about the book. Ian Fleming did not write the screenplay
There was two other
for
writers.
Thunderball.
Right.
It's not Thunderball is not his original idea.
Okay.
What I'm trying to get at. Yes, he wrote the book, but he plagiarized a script that he wrote years before with two other guys and didn't tell them.
Oh.
So he just published a book, and they then sued him to say this is based on an idea that we came up with together. Court battles for decades, and they finally settled it and said, right, okay, we'll put you as the producer, which you can see here, instead of Broccoli.
Is he spelt correctly?
Yes, Kevin McClory.
Okay.
You can be the producer, and you're not allowed to make a James Bond film for 10 years.
When did they agree this?
In the 60s.
Oh, actually, during the film.
Yes, so they agreed that you can be the producer for this film that we're going to make, and you're not allowed, because in court he won the rights to the script and the film rights for Thunderball.
Because that's the screenplay.
Because he wrote it, basically. Yeah. And they were like, right, okay, you can be the producer as long as you don't make a James Bond film for 10 years. 10 years go by, the guy makes Never Say Never Again.
Oh!
Which is a remake of Thunderball.
Is that a remake of Thunderball?
Yes.
It sounds like it sounds very vindictive, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
Never Say Never Again is a remake of Thunderball.
Uh-huh.
Why was Sean Connery in it?
Because he got persuaded to do it,
right.
basically. I don't think it's as simple as money. It's somebody he knew wanted him to do it, and he did it. And it's called Never Say Never Again because when in an interview somebody said, would you ever play James Bond again? He said, never. And so they said, well, we'll call it Never Say Never Again.
That's a good fact.
But yeah, so it's not actually his idea. The novel is based on a screenplay that they wrote together. So it's a completely new idea. It's not based on a novel. It's the other way around. The novel was based on a screenplay.
Right.
So back before it was
kind of the opposite. Because the films are usually
you get a novelisation
for screenplay, and then the screenplay is adapted for.
Yeah, but this was back before in the 50s, before James Bond was famous. So like these three guys got together and was like, oh, what if we made a film version of it, of James Bond, and what would the story be? And they couldn't get it to work, so he went and made the book of it, and then subsequently everything became famous, and he was like, okay, use my book. And they go, wait a minute, we actually wrote that, which is why he's on there. So it's not quite an original James Bond by Ian Fleming.
Well, you know what, I've never seen Never Say Never Again, so I'm looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, well, neither have I.
I heard nothing good about it, but Kevin, you're up.
Kevin's up. And so even up till 2000s, that's why Spectre, they couldn't get the rights to Spectre because this Kevin guy owned the rights to Spectre and Blofeld. So that
was Thunderball. That was a screenplay.
It was in it. He in the court settlement of the 60s, he got the rights to Thunderball.
Ian Fleming never created Spectre. But he was technically a co-writer in this.
He was a co-writer for Spectre and Blofeld. So that's why after Diamonds Are Forever, you never hear from Spectre until in 2000s when his estate sells the rights to Eon, and then you get the film Spectre.
It's all very sorted, isn't it?
And they come back.
I hope you didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Your casual fan will not know that.
I am excited for this knowledge.
Yeah, so but that doesn't really explain why Blofeld's in the next film. Actually, the next 3 films. Yeah. And then he's never seen again because this guy owns the rights.
Maybe back then, if it was a court mandate, it'd still be like, shut up. We're doing it. Maybe he was going through the courts at that time. I don't know. I
just know that it wasn't until the noughties that they finally got the rights to bring back the characters.
That is mad. I did not know that at all. I'm going to be looking
Big
at
fact.
This. That's why you're here, Jack, because all that I know is facts that no one asked about.
Facts about nuclear bombs in Hiroshima.
Here's your bomb. I think this is a good point to go on to the third and final.
Yes.
This is quite a hard one, actually. Speaking of bombs, I hope this doesn't get tagged on like YouTube.
Yeah. If like you can't say certain words, so you put the emoji in it. Unalived instead of dead.
Okay, well. With the bombs, what numbers were both atomic bombs? They read the numbers out, quite a lot of them actually, and the 2 bombs that were stolen from NATO have very specific numbers, 3-digit numbers, to narrow that down. That is quite a hard one.
That is a hard one.
I have discussed all I need to discuss in this film. I've had my rant about the end.
Mm-hmm.
I've had my positive rant about
Positive rant?
positive rant.
Lesser of two evils, I would say.
The positive rant about the actual film itself, because I think it's probably one of the most well made films. I think even in the films after this, it is probably one of the most well made films in terms of just production and cinematography, sound design, all class, apart from that last.
Apart from the last
That
bit.
just, it's frustrating actually.
But why? I don't know what the reason is. Why is it so poor?
A good visual effects team could actually probably remaster that and just make it less janky and stupid.
Obvious, yeah.
I mean, jumping about the boat, alright. The boat's no hitting things. So if the boat's going in a circle, surely you're always going to go to that side. You're not going to go from no one's steering the boat in random directions. So it shouldn't always not choppy seas either. I feel like I spoke about
I don't know.
I'm going to be talking about this boat in my sleep.
They originally wanted to get this film done in 9 months, but they managed to get a 3 months extension.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they did it in 3 months. So that's impossible.
A 3-month extension because the editor needed more time, and obviously needed even more time.
I think he did it on the last day of the 3-month extension. Like, just speed up the footage. We don't have time to go back.
He mustn't have got enough actual footage, or I don't know why he would have done it, but it doesn't look cool. It doesn't look good.
No. Yeah. I think it's quite a nice segue onto our ranking of the film.
Yeah.
And I know exactly where I'm going to rank this film. And I don't. In fact, I'm going to look at the board.
Do you
we have
actually?
a smaller board this time because the big board was too big. We don't have enough films. So we have our original order of Dr. No, From Russia With Love and Goldfinger. And I am going to put Thunderball where I think Thunderball should be positioned.
Okay.
And I'm going to show it to the camera, and then Jack might disagree. That's my order. Why are you looking at the camera? You not just look at the board.
Oh, that's not where I would fit it.
That's not where you would put it?
No.
Where would you put it?
I think you've made it too high. It needs to be
high?
one below.
You think it's worse than Russia With Love?
Yes. From Russia. Oh, come on. Remember episode 2, you said you loved it.
I never said I loved it. I corrected you in episode 2 as well. I never said I loved it. I said it was a great film. Go back and watch episode 2. That is taken verbatim from that episode. Right.
No, but everything about From Russia With Love was... I liked it.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay.
Leave it there.
Okay.
So we
liked
have Dr. No, Thunderball, From Russia With Love, and Goldfinger. That is
Goldfinger's still on the top.
our ranking. Goldfinger is still number 1, and I think Goldfinger will be there for quite a long time.
Oh, yes.
As we said at the start of the episode, if you've not watched the episodes prior, then go and have a listen to them. That usual Spotify streaming platforms thing. Like the video, rate the video, subscribe on YouTube. Do a wee subscribe. Have a wee comment. Let us know you're there. Follow us on Instagram where we put up random things.
Just stupid stuff.
Maybe we'll go live someday.
One day.
Yeah. And as always, we have mugs and we have t-shirts if you ever want to buy anything like that.
If you want to be as handsome as this man, then you would buy
Let's get into the
black
summer.
t-shirt.
It's t-shirt weather soon.
It's t-shirt weather.
Nothing is cooler than wearing one of our t-shirts. Do you have anything else to say, Jack?
See you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Next time is You Only Live Twice.
Yes.
Oh, that's going to be
I like this film.
that's going to be an interesting one, but yes. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Goodbye all.
Bye.